How many people in here like to get a bargain, like to save money on anything? Doesn't really matter. So if you're like me, you know the thrill and the joy of getting a deal. And I think that really runs through my veins, and it's who I've become. And there's a good story I'd like to tell you that might give you a little bit better of an idea. A couple years ago, my parents came for my graduation, and I don't remember why, but they wanted some migraine medication. And so my dad asked me, can I go to CVS, get him some migraine medication? I go to CVS, I go to the pill section, and I see the Extraden, and naturally, searching for a deal, I go straight to the CVS generic migraine medication. It's like 70 cents cheaper, and it does the same thing. I buy it, I go back home, and I hand the pills to my dad, and he pauses for a moment, looks at the pills, looks up at me, and says, "What is this?" And I say, "What do you mean, what is this? These are migraine medication." "I know it's migraine medication," he says, "but why didn't you get the good stuff?" And so I think out loud, and I think to him, and I say to him, "Well, what do you mean? These are the same exact product. They do the same thing. I've tested them multiple times because I get migraines a lot. And you save 70 cents. He pauses again. He looks at me, and then he says, "Shawn, it wasn't even your money." So, that's how I am. Even when it's not my money, that's just how I think. I can't help it. And my friends like to think that I'm cheap, and I view myself as being frugal, of course. And so it brings up an interesting discussion point. Is there a difference between being cheap and being frugal? And for me, it really boils down to two main reasons. When you're cheap, all you're focused on is price. That's it, that's the bottom line. Whereas frugality, it's about the total package, what you're getting for the product or service. And the second and more important reason is cheapness is about the ineffective use of your time. You're not thinking about the cost benefits. Whereas frugality, time is money. And so really, I guess people, when I tell them this, what they want to know, why should I care? What does it matter about being frugal? When you're frugal, it's about maximizing current resources to fund future needs and wants. It's about being flexible and having flexibility. About giving up something now so you can get something in the future. It could be a car, it could be retirement, it could be anything. So flexibility. And frugality, it's a way of life, it's a philosophy. And there's a good quote by Warren Buffett, and a man who sits under the shade of the tree now planted the seeds a long time ago. And so, going into my first point, price. When you're cheap, that's all that matters, nothing else. Not the quality, not how long the product's going to last you, and not how much you're going to enjoy the product. And there's a good example, personal example, when I got cheap. I got that laser vision. And I know everybody in here has heard of Michael Jordan, his Air Jordans. But I have a shoe nickname after me, and they're called Air McKees. And it's not because of my athletic ability. It's because of how cheap I was. And I got that nickname from my friends up at the Army in Fort Sheridan. And as you can imagine, from Payless, they cost $20, so not a very good shoe. And they would break after like 3 months. I had a few pairs, so 3 to 6 months is how long they would last. So not only did it not last a long time, but they kind of hurt my feet after a while. So I got a bad product, and I honestly wasn't fully satisfied. And had I paid up more money and paid $80, I probably would have had a better product. It would have lasted a lot longer, and I would have felt fulfilled. So a time I did that right was when I bought my Nokia about a year or so ago. I didn't want a fancy smartphone. I didn't want to pay a lot of money for a iPhone or anything like that. So I paid $40 for my Nokia smartphone. And for most people, I got it wouldn't work, but frugality and I guess value is in the eye of the beholder. So it does exactly what I needed to do. It cost me $40 and it's lasted me well over a year. So to me, that's being frugal. And Rich Dad Poor Dad, there's a good book. It's a money saving book, and he talks about being in balance. And frugality, I like to think about, operating on two legs. You need to know when to be a spendthrift and when to be a tightwad. Without either or, you're going to be off balance and wobbly. So when you think of cheapness and in terms of price, that's a good way, I guess, to relate to it. And then the second and more, I think, important reason is that cheapness is the ineffective use of your time. Again, the cost benefit. So you're not thinking about how much time you're costing yourself. And if you've heard of the show or seen the show Extreme Cheapskates, you know that it's a show about people who go through all kinds of hoops to save money. And there was a good example of a guy who went around town and spent the entire day collecting change. And at the end of the day, he had $8 in change, which is impressive, but you have to wonder, is your time worth only $8? To me, no. You probably could have been more effective doing something else, learning a different skill, and increasing your income that way. Of course, it isn't always about the money. Again, it's about the time. It's about how happy you are, how satisfied you are at the end of the day. And so when you're cheap, sometimes you forget about that. And so a personal example is when I went to Six Flags with my girlfriend, and I don't have a car, and I live in the city. So how were we going to get there? I could have either taken public transportation, paid $100 for a zip card. As you can imagine, the inner cheapskate in me wants to go with the public transportation. But then you think, okay, 3 hours there by public transportation, 3 hours back, that's 6 hours total. And that's less time I get to spend having fun, that's less time I get to spend with my girlfriend. So naturally, I went with paying the $100. So I had a good time and I felt fulfilled. And so when you think of frugality, I like Napoleon, and he had another good quote, and it's space you can recover, time never. So that $100 I can make up, but the time I will never get back. So that's something to think about. And so hopefully today you've learned a little bit about, I think, the differences between being cheap and being frugal. And hopefully you will see that frugality is, again, it's a way of living, and it's a way of being in balance, and ultimately it's a way of achieving what you want in the future. And again, to quote Warren Buffett again, because he has a lot of good quotes, but to end it, and really how I summed up how I feel, is price is what you pay, value is what you get.